Hello, everyone. Welcome to the weekly episode of Living in a Pandemic. So, one thing that I was thinking about was about I've seen many people, it's mental health is a common uh, issue that is being prevalent in the pandemic. So, one of the things I feel like that can improve mental health is, grooming yourself. So essentially, if you're a male, you could probably trim your beard or trim your mustache, have a haircut. So I think you're grooming yourself will make yourself present yourself as a more give you a more positive outlook and help you feel better during the pandemic. And if you're a female and there, you know what to do, how to groom yourself. But anyway, getting back to the uh, topic of the episode, is something that I wanted to discuss about a TV web series on Netflix. It is called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. Namak, uh, fat, acid, heat. I don't know how to say it in Hindi, but yeah, it's mainly the four chief ingredients for cooking. It is a cooking series, uh, and I think there are only four episodes in this series, and each episode talks about one ingredient. At first, I felt I skipped this series. I didn't want to watch this, but a colleague from work had recommended this, and then I gave it a shot. Uh, and and what I realized was this series is very similar to many other TV cooking series that we see on television channels. Where there is a chef or a food enthusiast who travels around the world, different parts of the world, and tries to explore new ingredients, and then learns about the ingredient, comes back and uses those ingredients to cook a new dish. Uh, so it's very similar to the usual TV series, but it's also different in that it just focuses on four ingredients: salt, fat, acid, and heat. And so the first ingredient, salt, she travels to Japan. Something that I've realized that Japan has hundreds of salts. Apparently, they have, like, for in India we have couple of salts, like we have the pink salt and the black salt, kala namak, and the white salt, the usual one that we use for cooking, the table salt. But in Japan, apparently there are hundreds of salts, and each salt gives a different unique flavor, right? And each flavor can be used to make a separate is used specifically for a particular dish in Japan. That was something that I found it very interesting. And the way they make these salts is through seaweed in Japan. And Japan is an island, and the island is covered with the coastal areas are covered with lots and lots of seaweed. And seaweed, by the way, is also used in sushi, right? So seaweed is quite popular in Japan. So they make salts using seaweed in Japan. And so the chef covers this aspect and then takes salt and tells the user how to marinate meat with salt, uh, and preserve meat with salts, and then she covers some other aspects of salt. Similarly, she also explores the three other ingredients: fat, acid, and heat. For fat, she travels to Italy, and in Italy, she mainly goes to a butler where he has a poultry farm filled with pigs, and now pigs have a lot of fat, right? And in the Western world, pigs are main ingredient for many dishes, like many ingredients like pepperoni, sausages, hot dogs, uh, and steak. So these are a lot of meat that comes from pigs, and then the chef tells that fat is something that gives the flavor to a dish, right? So that's the second ingredient. And for acid, she goes to Mexico. And I think the acid episode was the most crucial episode, I think, for someone who's new to learning to cooking. I think the acid episode, the third episode, is very important. I would recommend, where she tells that, food has a pH scale. Some foods are acidic and some foods are basic. For example, watermelon is basic, it's going to calm your stomach. But some other dishes like sour cream or yogurt or lemon juice are acidic, and even citrus fruits are acidic. And so acid is something that is going to help in digestion, right? So she talks about how to use acid effectively in your dishes to make it a more fulfilling dish. And I haven't watched the fourth episode yet, Heat. I think she comes to India for Heat. A lot of grilling happening in India. So yeah, these are the four main ingredients that the chef in this TV series covers, and I would highly recommend taking a look at it. And this is a more cheerful TV series, right? Something that I would otherwise recommend if you're watching. If you're looking for some recommendations for watching on Netflix, I would recommend watching something more cheerful, or comedy, or funny movie, instead of watching something like scary movie or a thriller or a horror movie, especially in a period like pandemic. And yeah, this is something you can check it out. Stay tuned. I'll come with more recommendations on Netflix. Take care and stay safe. Bye bye.